Good evening. This is the Joint Committee, Subcommittee on Zoning and Economic Development of November 5th, 2012. Can we all rise and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, can you read the first order of business?
The first item that the committee will take up this evening is application on 338 Squire Road LLC for a Chapter 148 license to operate a retail gasoline business and convenience store with underground storage of 32,000 gallons of gasoline and underground storage of 8,000 gallons of diesel fuel for a total of 40,000 gallons of underground storage on lots 817 to 829 at 338 Squire Road.
Before I call on the learned attorney, I just want to make it very clear to everybody who might be watching this or anybody in the audience that this meeting tonight is specifically for the fuel storage license. No other business in regards to this proposed fuel station or convenience fuel station or whatever you want to call it, gasoline station, is in order. So the only thing we are voting on is the storage license. So, Mr. Simeone.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to be recognized for a point of clarity, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
12-261 refers to Chapter 148 license to operate a retail gasoline business and convenience store with underground storage of 32,000 gallons of gasoline. So that's what it appears on the calendar this evening. Now, you make mention of the fact that we're just talking about the gasoline. What do we do about the convenience store?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm not even sure that part of this should be even come with the license. So the only reason that's on there is because that's how the billing goes for the storage license. So
in effect, we are voting for both.
No, we're not voting for both because they have that by right. They have the other part of that by right, but it is on the license. It's called these items. But the bottom line is the only thing we're voting on is the storage of these fuels underground. 40,000 gallons, I believe.
32,000 gallons. We're going to 40,000 of underground storage.
32
and 8. So it's a total of 40 gallons of fuel. Some's 8,000 gallons is diesel fuel, the rest is gasoline. Anyways, that's the way I understand it, unless the clerk wants to tell me differently.
If I could add something.
And I'll call on my co-chair here, Councilor Ridd.
Just to kind of elucidate a little bit on what we are voting on in response to Councilor's question. We have no authority to vote on the issuance of the license to the convenience store. That's something that I believe is available by right in the particular area we are discussing right now. Our only purpose and our only authority here is to vote on this application for a 40,000 gallons of underground storage. And my understanding is that if we were to deny it, unless we have very solid reasons for denying the license, that we would be opening ourselves to litigation. And I think the only point I mention here is that the retail license, I believe, and I think the attorney for the applicant will can expound on that a little bit himself, as he has far more expertise on this issue than do I. That at this point the operation of the retail convenience store is not at issue and should not be an issue and wouldn't be an issue before this council because we have no authority to decide one way or the other. Am I accurate about that statement? Push your button, please, and state your name.
You never know who's listening, right? Anyway, under Revere Revised Ordinance 1716-460, self-service stations which are derived and defined, as a gasoline station, which happens to serve convenience items. That particular use is allowed by right, having been adopted by the council on May 21st, 2012, provided you had 25,000 square feet, which this particular site does. The lot, as the clerk had read, lots 817 through 830 are 28,778 square feet. The council also, in that particular ordinance, required that any particular lot had to have 150 foot of frontage. This particular lot has 175 feet of frontage. So the council was very specific, and the standard for having a by right self-service station was extremely high. There are very few general business lots in this community that can reach those proportions.
Well, I guess that gets us to the point where we, I believe, unless any councils have any introductory type questions, I guess that gets us to the point where you can explain exactly what your applicant is doing here and his rights and that you believe his rights are, and the restrictions that we can or cannot impose upon this.
Well, the only thing, when I was before your honorable body, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Chairpersons, I explained the status of the particular individual's application. He has applied for a building permit. He has gone through site plan. They have provided a variety of restrictions that I provided you in their June 4th, 2012 letter. The applicant not only went through site plan once, he went through site plan twice. That with the chief of the fire department, who reviewed it, who came to the meeting and reviewed it once again, prior to endorsing the September 12th endorsement of this application by the fire chief, which the fire chief, which the fire chief approved on September 28th, 2012. That being said, I think the quantum of gasoline and storage has been identified and also has been shown on a variety of plans that I submitted to you. I submitted a package which included the site plan, the specifications on the fiberglass tank, as well as the floor plan of the existing facility and the facade of the facility's elevations. So I would ask that you respectfully that you consider the application and you endorse it.
Thank you, Councilor. I think at this point, if no one has anything to add to this, we should just simply vote, because all we can do is vote this up or down. So it's either we're going to approve this gasoline storage license or we're not.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Novoselsky.
Mr. Chairman, I know I'm not a member of the committee, but I would like to make a recommendation. And, everybody knows that, I try to work things out with, all the neighbors and all the parties involved. And, I know we all got an email regarding some of the neighbors' proposed mitigation. And I did respond to one, and I believe everybody got a copy of it, of what the choices are. Now, one, I got it from Mr. Carbone, who lives at 107 Sigourney. And he's asked that, on behalf of the neighbors, that we consider asking the proponent to close off the access points on the side streets, on Sigourney and Augusta streets. Now, I know we did it with the at least one side of the mobile station has no access, and I don't remember which street that's on. Is that Augustus? Augustus. And I know they asked for it to cut back on a 24-hour operation, but I'm not going to go with that one, and I told them that. Now, if we choose upon this recommendation to close off these streets, one of their requests was to include additional fencing and trees on either street, within reason, of course. And I did mention to him that we are, by ordinance, only allowed to do a certain height at a certain point near intersections. So at this point, I would, request to the committee, excuse me, that we bring up that those two access points be closed and access be given to the station, as is the mobile station currently, from Squire Road. That be the only access onto the property. So I'll make that suggestion and recommendation to the committee, and on behalf of some of the neighbors that are involved, and ask that it be included in the recommendation to the council. Thank you.
Well, Councilor,
Mr. Chairman.
I'll address that in a minute.
Mr. Chairman.
Council President Penta, I'll address that in a minute.
Mr. Chairman, I think Chairman Reardon basically said it the best.
Yeah.
That this is not amendable.
I agree.
It's
I
a
agree.
140B license.
That's what I was going to address after you spoke.
The time to address this was months ago, when the zoning change in front of the committee of the co-chair that put a lot of time and effort into that vote that came up. And, you know, as far as being a good neighbor and stuff like that, I mean, that's something that the owner of the gas station and neighbors should talk about, you know, putting up. If site plan review didn't do it, that was the time to talk about that. So, I mean, it's almost like putting the cart after the horse here. So to ask them to do it, the fire chief already signed off on this as site plan review. If we voted this 11-0, it would go to the state fire marshal and they would sign it.
I agree.
I mean, just look at what they'd say. They would say, well, the city council voted 11-0, or 10-1, whatever it was, to put a gas station there. A matter of right on a highway to put a gas station, and you people are trying to tell them they can't put a gas tank? It would be laughable. So, I mean, I think the
Point
way...
of information, Mr. Chairman, you know, with all due
State your
respect,
point.
with all due respect, I didn't say we were going to shoot down a 148 license in this thing. I only made a recommendation.
Is that a point of information, or is that
Well,
a point
I'm
of
just
clarification?
clarifying.
All right, okay.
Council,
I have the floor.
right.
All I'm trying to say is
I'm just
you're trying to
clarifying,
amend
Councilor,
something.
what I said and what you're changing my words.
Councilor
which
Penta
I
has
did
the
not
floor.
say. And I asked for
Councilor
a point of
Penta has the
information, and you're
floor.
giving it to me, Councilor. You know, I asked for a simple thing, and don't put words in my mouth that aren't there. And that's what's happening right now. I did not say we were going to shoot it down.
Councilor
I
Penta.
want that perfectly clear.
And what I said was, it's
But
not
I had
amendable.
the floor because you gave me the point of information, Councilor.
A point of information is a
Chairman.
point of information, not a political speech.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
if you know
if
your
I
rules
may,
of law,
come on, enough.
Point
I
of
don't want-
personal privilege, then,
Come
Mr.
on.
President.
Enough.
You know, if you want to
Enough.
know
We're
the
trying to
truth,
back and
don't put
forth.
words in my mouth that I didn't
You're out
say.
of order,
That's all I ask.
You're out of order.
Mr. Chairman,
You
moving
can say
on.
I'm out of order.
all I'm saying, he
Councilor,
is
but I
out of
don't
order.
want- A point of clarification. It is amendable because it's
Enough.
it's a point
Enough.
of
We're moving
a
on
point
here.
of issue.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
Councilor.
Chairman Reardon, Chairman Zambudo, addressing the concerns raised by Councilor Novoselsky, who I happen to have talked to many years about this program. Many years know the 148 program. All years are well, informed as to the program. I believe Councilor Novoselsky is asking a question, something whether the applicant can do that. I just want to respond on the record. I know that the previous mobile station did have Keeney Street. It was blocked off, but it was blocked off because of the topography. If you notice, Keeney Street is an extremely different angle. There was never going to be an access way off of Keeney Street. In this particular case, we went through this with site plan. I can tell you the chief, the fire chief, even though it's not part of the 148 criteria, he took us through it. He took my clients through it. One of the issues that we are unresolved on the access issue is the fact that we have not gotten a state highway permit. That tends to be the last permit to get. You don't know what they're going to do to you. They could take us and make us combine the two openings we currently have now to one opening if they want to. So there's a little bit of hesitation on our part at this time to make any changes other than what the site plan review. Doesn't mean we're being disingenuous or certainly not understanding of the neighborhood. I think at certain points of time we'll either know where we stand when it comes from the state or we won't know. Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor. At this time, I'm just going to call for a vote up or down on the storage license. to recommend to the full council which way we want to go. So, Councilor Correggio.
Yes.
Councilor Guanasso? No. Council President Penta?
Yes.
Councilor Patch?
Yes.
Councilor Novoselsky? Oh, you're not on the committee, okay. Either one? You on the zoning? Oh, okay. And the chairman votes yes, and the co-chairman votes yes. So this will be recommended out favorably, so we approve the storage license. That's all my business here. Now I'm going to turn this whole thing over to my co-chair for his zoning meeting. After tomorrow night, it might be in vogue.
Thank you, Councilor Zambudo. This is now the meeting of the zoning subcommittee, sitting and standing and addressing the issues alone. Tonight we have with us, in addition to me, Stephen Reardon, chairman of the subcommittee. I have with me on the subcommittee Councilor Correggio, Councilor Guanasso, Councilor Patch, and Councilor Zambudo. We have but one item to address here this evening, and that is an application entitled 12-261, numbered 12-261, from 338 Squire Road LLC for Chapter 1. I'm sorry, that was the last thing we did. I'm going back to number 1, C-12-06. An application of James St. V. for a permit to further alter an existing non-conforming structure and use for the purpose of operating a special garage auto body at 851 to 855 Broadway Revere, and a application along with that from the same applicant for a Chapter 148 license to conduct a special garage auto body shop on the site.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, over the past couple of weeks, I have been working with the applicant's attorney, Mr. Simeone, in reference to setting and establishing a neighborhood meeting. I believe that the neighborhood should meet first before this body makes a decision on this and forwards that decision on to the committee of the whole. So I would ask at this particular time, Mr. Chairman, if we could please table these two items in order for us to have our meeting. And to further this, Mr. Chairman, we have a tentative date of November 15th, which is next Wednesday, which will be conducted at 6 o'clock at the premises of the site in which the applicant is seeking at 851, 855 Broadway. If that meets with the chair and the members of the zoning subcommittee's understanding, I wish that we would table this on those merits.
Well, I certainly I've been informed of the potential meeting, and I understand that. I've discussed it with Attorney Simeone and some of the councilors, and that was my intention to ask to have this tabled until the meeting of November 19th, I believe. But given that we were not able to inform everybody that might be interested in that, I would ask Attorney Simeone to defer at this point. But if there's anybody that would like to speak about this, we will be doing this again on the 19th. But if anybody's come here specifically to speak about this, then I would invite them to come forward and do so. Otherwise, I'm going to request that the subcommittee vote to table this. I'll keep this in subcommittee until the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else want to talk about this at all? All right, there's no one here, so I'll entertain a motion to
keep table.
So moved. All of the subcommittee members are in favor. Very well.
Thank you.
Then the matter will be continued until the November 19th subcommittee meeting, which I think we can expect will be convened about 4:30. About 4:30 p.m. on that date. In the meantime, I will reiterate what Councilor Guanasso said. It's always, my view is it's always better for these issues to be worked out because generally when you come to a meeting with an open mind and you discuss these things reasonably and with the intention of achieving a equitable result, you generally can do that. And it's a lot better when that happens rather than have litigation and people getting angry over the thing. I think the things that anger people most is they don't get hurt. Well, this meeting on November 15th, I believe, at 6 p.m., at the premises at 851 to 855 Broadway, which everybody knows that's the old bus garage. Be there or have someone come and represent you so that your views can be heard, and with any luck, things will work out for everybody. So, yes, Councilor.
I might also add that the applicant's attorney has been gracious enough to submit letters to each and every of those households that live on Folsom Street and the surrounding abutters, so that they do have notification of that meeting. And I can't urge you enough to voice your concerns that night and be in attendance, because it's more productive in that type of forum, as you suggested, Mr. Chairman, and I think it's beneficial to all for those neighbors to be there.
Thank you, Councilor Ganasso. With that, that is the only item on the zoning subcommittee's agenda that concludes our meeting this evening. The City Council meeting will adjourn. The special meeting of the City Council and the School Building Committee will convene, I believe, at 5 p.m. this evening, which is about a half an hour away. So stay tuned. Thanks.